Cliff, welcome to That Was Then, This Is Now. What was amazing, you know, was all you guys that came through as sort of mid-teenagers in the mid-50s when rock and roll started. In the States, you get the Dion, Ricky Nelson here, Adam Faith, Marty Wilde, Billy Fury. You all was like mid-teens at the time that rock and roll struck. So it was very lucky for you guys. It's like this happened at this time when you were all the right age.
I think, I mean, that's it. When people say, you know, what about aging? I've said, really, I don't mind aging because it means that I was born at that certain time and rock and roll happened and hit us probably first. And in fact, when you think about it, all the Elvises and Little Richard, Buddy Holly, Ricky Nelson, the reason why I exist, and Marty and all the others, Dickie Pride and Billy Fury passed away, of course, earlier on, but we had a life suddenly, something that we aimed at and could succeed at. And I guess most people, even the Beatles, who were the same age as the Shadows and myself. In fact, John Lennon was 5 days older than me. We were all listening to the same music, all affected and influenced by that American rock and roll. And of course, we just grabbed it by the throat and were successful.
On your first tour, I mean, you only had one hit, which was Move It, so you had to pad the rest of the set list you did with the Kalin Twins with other songs. I mean, did you just play rock and roll from the era?
Yeah, we would do, you know, anything that Buddy Holly had done. And we would certainly do an Elvis track. Jerry Lee Lewis, you know, Whole Lot of Shake. We would just get up there and play those songs. That's all we had. The catalogue was one song. I mean, I didn't release an album for quite a while. It was all singles. And I think Living Doll was my 5th single. And I started in August 58. And in July 59, I had my 5th single. Suddenly on tour, half my set was my own material.
But your set list now, of course, I mean, because you've had so many hits, the problem, if you're dividing the cake up, there are so many songs that you have to sing because your fans insist that you sing them. There are so many songs that you have to sing because they're your new songs and you want to sing them, and you're left with a third slice of the cake to squeeze everything else in for your own free choice.
Well, I was planning, before the tour got postponed this year, I'd already phoned my MD, and you know, he's my keyboard player, and I said, what I want to do, there's a section. I'm going to tell the public, look, tonight, of course, I'm going to do everything that you want me to do, but there's going to be a 10 or 12 minute section, maybe 15 minutes, and I'd like you to listen to what I would have dying to sing for you. And I've picked out a few tracks that sound so amazingly rock. And of course, I'll be remembered, and I'm not grumbling about this. I've had the most charmed career of all of us. And I'm happy to be remembered for Living Doll and Summer Holiday and Bachelor Boy and Congratulations. I'm no fool. You know, someone said to me, what the heck, what reasons did you have for recording Congratulations? I said, about 1.5 million reasons, because you want to make records to sell, not only for your sake, but the record company has to be happy as well, and then you've got to have enough money left over to make the next record.
And the new album, Music, The Air That I Breathe, I mean, you played me the track the other day, P.S. Please, which is a very unusual track.
Yes, I don't think I've ever sung a posthumous sort of track. It's obviously the story about his wife, the singer's wife, is pregnant. They name her Eliza. He obviously dies before, but leaves, and maybe knew he was sick, but leaves a will or something with lots of messages, like left birthday cards for her and New Year's wishes for her, some money to buy a car, and it all comes out in the lyric, you know, happy birthday, dear Eliza, I bet the world looks big at 17. I wonder if you had the time to open all the letters I hoped you'd read. So it's got this heart to it, to think that a love can continue after death. And he's hoping that his daughter will always hit the chorus is P.S. Please remember me. And so I love the song. It's hard to tell with a song like that whether people will take to it, because of course it's got this undercurrent of a death. Although when singing it, I never felt so much of a death. I kept thinking what a love he had for the child that hadn't even been born, and gave her all his love. And there's a lyric in it towards the end where it says, for every word we never get to speak, there are footprints next to yours. They'll never leave. So it got a heart, you know. It makes me teary-eyed just thinking about it.
Yeah.
Please remember me from your first steps to your anniversaries. Make these letters your memories, moments of what could never be. wiser. I bet you're living hard and fast at 23. I hope you set aside the time to watch the fireworks light up the streets. You'll find beauty in the strangest place, so don't turn any opportunity away. And if you fall, you learn from your mistakes. There's a blessing in each scar and every break. P.S. Please remember me, from your first steps to your anniversaries. Make these letters all your memories, moments of what could never be. P.S. Please remember me.
I remember when you sang Miss You Nights we were down in Portugal in a restaurant.
Oh,
And the lady
yes.
on the next table was crying. And I did lean over to her and said, he wasn't that bad, really. On the heritage front, as you know, we started the heritage chart. We're doing it on radio and now doing it on That Was Then, This Is Now as well, which I really felt it was needed. There's so many artists saying to me, we've got great material out, we're, as relevant as we ever are, the Dions, the Bruce Springsteens, not getting played, the artists here, the Nick Kershaws, the Limals, not getting played at all anywhere. And they said, well, we really need this, so we brought it into the TV as well. But it is important because all these artists are still very relevant and making great music.
Well, because they were great to start with. I mean, I think I said it in something, maybe advertising for you, because I said, people that are really good musicians and you've seen them do it, don't get bad. They just get older. And it's an area that we have to work on somehow, because although I feel very fortunate, I'm still getting some airplay on the BBC. And the last album I did, they played a couple of tracks from that. This week, in fact, I've been album of the week, which I'm very grateful for. But in general, unless you have the nation's radio stations playing your records 2 or 3 times a day, it's really hard to break the charts. And what I've tried to explain in my book, The Dreamer, is that I have watched a 19-year-old play a 34-year-old and lose. They were on a level playing field.
It's tennis. Yeah.
It's tennis.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah, it's tennis. And I just don't feel that we're on a level playing field anymore, because unless your records are played, nobody knows whether they want to buy them or not. I've had people come up to me, maybe 21 to 18, that sort of age group, about 6 of them. They were very cool, but as soon as I got up to leave, they came rushing over and said, oh, my mum loves you, my grandmother thinks you're terrific. And then they said, do you still make records? And I said, my latest album is in the top 10. And they went, oh. I said, don't feel bad about it. There's no reason you would know, because you haven't heard it. And so there's that problem that happens for all of us. And I agree with you. You're doing a perfect thing. You're giving a chance for people who are still good at what they do. They've still got that voice that sounds like that other voice that they had when they were younger. And I think it's fantastic. So it must come round at some point. I think radio and the internet have been both two good reasons why we don't sell records anymore. You have to have airplay. You can't just have it on the internet. It's streaming. I mean, streaming is so cheap. I found out that you've got to be streamed 8,000 times to earn 1 cent. It's ridiculous. And as a singer, of course, I can go on tour, but writers can't. And they only get 1 cent as well for every stream. So it could be the death knell, really. When you think about it, what are they going to play? When there's no more singers, no more writers, or they've given up because they can't make money, you're going to just have to play old Cliff Richard material.
Hey, great news. The Freds are back, so let's head back to 1991.